What's going on, everyone? This is WolfenMcGunz here, and what I want to talk about in this video today is the Wii U. Most notably, Nintendo and what they need to do to turn the Wii U around. I was on VG charts and I looked at the numbers of consoles sold out of the big three. PS4 has 7.1 million console sales, Wii U has 6 million, and the Xbox One at 4.3 million. Now, even though the Wii U is technically in second place, one thing you gotta remember is it has been 18 months that it's been out. The other two, just 6 months. So, if you look at that, Wii U is not doing very well. I mean, what they need to do, what would help is if they obviously picked up the pace in their sales. But Nintendo, the big problem with Nintendo is there's no content for what people want to play. I mean, even for Nintendo fans like myself, there's not a whole big selection. I mean, some of the Nintendo fanboys will argue that there is a big selection, but there's not quite big enough selection. I mean, not really. I mean, if they really think about it. They say that in Damage Control. Yes, I know the PS4 doesn't have very much stuff right now, same with Xbox One, but they're a lot newer. And I think by the time they reach 18 months, they're going to have quite a bit of titles released. That's for sure. Now, before any Nintendo fans might rage at me, I just want you guys to know I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I actually toe the line at being a fanboy. Probably what separates me from the actual fanboyism is the fact that I tell it like it is. I'm not fake. I seek the truth. And I'm probably more a fan than you guys are. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm not going to be satisfied with Nintendo's performance as of late. That's not happening. If you're a fan of something, don't you want them to put out good content? I mean, let's say your favorite band put out like polka music. I mean, you would hate it. I mean, unless you like polka. But, I mean, I'm picking a genre that's not really relevant in mainstream society. So, I mean, think about it. If, I like Alice in Chains. If Alice in Chains put out a polka album and not trying to be quirky or weird, it just was really just 100% polka, I would be like, this is really horrible. This is not what I expect. This is not what I want. You guys can do better than this. The same principle lies in with video games, Not that Nintendo is putting stuff out that's very terrible, but they do release a lot of what, it's almost like bloatware, Just a lot of software that's not really worth buying. And I'm not talking about the good games like Super Mario 3D World, Wind Waker HD. I'm talking about just silly stuff. Silly eShop stuff, silly little games, stuff you see in the Direct all the time that nobody's gonna play, That's what Nintendo's doing too much of. It's like they're trying to cater towards the quote-unquote casual crowd, where the problem is the casual crowd is just as happy playing Candy Crush on their iPhone, playing Subway Surfers, anything usually like a mobile-based device. Since smartphones have really swept the nation in these last several years, I mean, people that weren't heavily into gaming are, they're okay with playing games on their phone, but they're never before did they really sit down to a dedicated console with a controller and played a game. At least not in a more hardcore sense. Not they just played it casually, and they probably didn't play it that much, probably at a friend's house. The Wii was quite the enigma, because here's the thing with the Wii. It was a gimmick. When it introduced motion controls, and their marketing was really good, showing the middle-aged soccer moms and the grandparents playing bowling on Wii Sports and everything. And soccer moms everywhere in 2006. Remember, this is 2006 when the Wii came out. soccer moms everywhere were like, oh, that would be so neat to get. I need to get that. That would be a hoot. Yeah, that's probably what they were thinking. And that's just something like consumers do today anyway. They think something's neat, they want to try it, and they buy it, and then they probably don't use it that much. Because they're not really into that. That's not really their hobby. You know, it's just as fun as going out and doing actual bowling, you know, to them. It's silly. Well, those same people are probably playing Farmville on Facebook and, you know, playing silly games like that, you know. You know, if that's your thing, I'm not trying to insult you saying that it's silly, but when you look at it from a gaming standpoint, it's quite minuscule compared to blockbuster games. I mean, so Nintendo is a company that is in the video game business, making actual dedicated consoles and good software. They're supposed to anyway. And the thing that they were trying to do with the Wii U was smart if they just executed it better. So their original vision was good. That vision was, hey, we need to get the core gamers. Hey, we need to get those hardcore guys back. Let's call it the Wii U. Because we're not just doing it for we as a family, but for you as the hardcore gamer. Now, Reggie did explain, I think it was at E3 or maybe in an article, that the U does mean like you as in you core gamers out there that like Gears of War, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Madden, all those quote-unquote hardcore games, you know. Yeah, that's what the U's supposed to stand for. Well, I want to go over the things that the Wii U did wrong, that Nintendo did wrong, you know, when they were making this Wii U. Alright. Well, the biggest problem is the third parties aren't there, right? And another thing is, there's no install base on a Nintendo console as big as on Xbox and PlayStation. Yes, there are beautiful, amazing games that Nintendo comes out with on their home consoles. Absolutely. But they are missing what hardcore gamers want. You know, me, myself, as a Nintendo fan, I enjoy owning a Nintendo console. I enjoy my Wii U right now. I love it. However, I also own a PS4. And there's a reason for that. I also own an Xbox 360. Because there's experiences on there that I can't get at Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo's not a one-stop shop for me, you know? As much as I love their games, and I prefer Nintendo games over any other games, you know, from Sony or Microsoft exclusively or third-party, Nintendo's where it's at for me. However, like I said before, that's not a one-stop shop for me. There's other games that I like to play. You know, I'll give an example right now. One game I'm really looking forward to playing is Metal Gear Solid 5. Wow, that game looks amazing. I'm ready to play that on my PS4, man. Man, I am dying to play that game. It looks so good. I can't play that on the Wii U, you know? So the install base isn't even there. Let's pretend Nintendo's... Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, the third parties are not there. And why are the third parties not there? Here's one of the reasons. They did not make the system powerful enough. What do obnoxious, childlike, infantile, hardcore gamers like? More graphics. M-O-A-R graphics. More. They want more graphics. More power. They care about frame rates. And they care about resolution. And I care about that stuff too. I really do. But I am not so horny over it like some of these nerds are, man. Some of these graphics whores. That's what I call them. I mean, it becomes... It's so stupid. It's like sports teams. Like, you know... Well, I hate your team, so I'm rooting for my team. My team's better because it's not... my team is better than yours because I like this team. It's just silly fanboyism, and I hate it. But, you know, everybody wants to go crazy over frame rates and all that stuff. And like I said, I'm for all the more power. I want more power. But I don't concentrate on that alone. To me, it's all about the gameplay. You know, there are some developers that say the Wii U is not powerful enough. They did not make a strong enough system. Another thing is, some of them wanted to, but the architecture is weird. It's not familiar. You'd have to spend a lot more time trying to figure out the Wii U's architecture, whereas the PS4 and the Xbox One are like a PC architecture. This is something that they try to do on purpose. It makes it easier to develop for. And the PS3, when at launch, it had a terrible, weird architecture. And that's why the games weren't getting developed as fast for it. I mean, 360 was where it was at. That's what I loved. That's what I preferred. I didn't care anything about Sony. There's reasons why I got a PS4 this time, but that's for another video. But anyway, this time they were smart. They were like, hey, we need to make our architecture easier to work with so that developers can actually develop for them. Well, Nintendo didn't do that. Nintendo is so freaking stubborn, so pig-headed, and you Nintendo fanboys need to admit that to yourselves. Stop trying to defend everybody at Nintendo. It's so silly. Stop being a fanboy. Just step out of the fanboy shoes for a minute and just kind of look at yourself and just look in the mirror and just look at yourself and go, really, dude? Maybe I'm just being a little bit of a fanboy. Maybe I just need to kind of see maybe I need to unpeel my eyes. I don't know. Maybe I need to look at this without bias. The install base is very minuscule. I mean, so now here I go. Let's say the Wii U did come out with great architecture, just like the other two, and just as powerful graphics as the PS4. Let's pretend. Do you think people are still going to go buy a Wii U? Maybe people who are fans of Nintendo might, but what else? I mean, here's another thing they didn't do. They didn't put streamlined video chat options on the Wii U. I think you can still buy a headset and kind of work with it, but I mean, you can't really do it. Not that I don't play Call of Duty or anything on it, so I haven't actually tested it myself. But the fact that you can't just simply plug in your headset and just go, or have a mouthpiece, is just absolutely ridiculous. I forget how it works. I don't know if you can plug in your headset and then you talk through the controller. I forget. But do you see what I'm saying? It's already a headache to even just try to think about. Why can't it just be simple? Why can't you just follow the new standard of gaming? Nintendo, one thing you gotta realize is you're not the standard anymore. You are the big N. You have amazing things that you do that nobody else does, but you're not the standard. PlayStation and Xbox are the standard. That is standard, straightforward gaming. Another reason why the install base is so bad on Nintendo in general is because your image is so terrible. Yes, back in 1992, 1989, 1996, we were kids, we played the NES, the SNES, and the 64. Yes, Mario, and hey, I'm not bashing Mario, I love Mario. But, Mario was where it was at, but even back then we liked some hardcore games, But, I mean, we were a little more accepting of more, no, let me say, less hardcore games. I don't want to call Mario games casual, because they're not just mindless little Angry Birds style gameplay. Mario games are amazing, and they're high in replay value. But anyway, sorry, let me put the fanboy aside now. Okay. But anyway, the point is, we're all grown up now. I looked up something that said the average gamer's age is 35. Wow. I mean, 35, people. I mean, I bet if you take that, if there was a survey in the early 90s, man, it'd probably be the average gamer is probably it would probably be 12. I bet you it would be something like that. Because there'd be some teenagers and there'd be some little kids, and right in the middle there, definitely 11, 10, 12, 13. I like how I said 11, 10, 12. I can't count. But, yeah, we grew up. Some of us still love Mario and Zelda and Star Fox, and some of them don't. Some of them are just I don't want to play that crap. I mean, whatever. They don't want to play it. So, they want a hardcore system. I mean, they're so big on being hardcore, but they don't want to play Mario games, you know. Just Nintendo games like that, not just Mario necessarily, but I mean, I like it, but not everybody does. People want serious stuff now. You know, they live in the serious world. They have to, you know, just hardcore and blood and cussing. You know, sometimes that's all people want. They don't want anything else. So what Nintendo really needs to do is hire me. Because I could help them out. No, I mean, but honestly, they do need to they need to like really do a survey for gamers. I mean, you know, sometimes if you're part of Club Nintendo like I am, they'll ask you a question about your game, and you know, did you like this game? How did you rate it? You know, was it good with a friend or by yourself? What kind of games do you usually like? I mean, I think that's smart, but I mean, they really need to do a good, thorough survey on a lot of gamers. And then, I mean, you know what though? I mean, honestly, Nintendo knows what they need to do. I don't need to act like they're so naive. I just think they're freaking stubborn. And really, I blame the management in Japan. Because, you know, a lot of people say Reggie needs fired, Iwata needs fired. I think Iwata needs fired. Reggie, I don't think Nintendo of America really makes decisions on, hey, we need to make this game. I think it's all in Japan. Like, I don't think Nintendo of America decides to make games. Like, they might, you know, they might contract somebody to develop for them, like Retro Studios. I mean, I don't know how all that works. I'm not a business guru. But, I mean, for sure, they need to get some new management in there. Iwata keeps saying, I'm sorry, please understand, I will take a pay cut. You need to really grasp reality in the gaming world. Come on! Like, you're a smart company and you don't understand, like, what gamers really want? Why did you cheapskate on hardware? Yet again, why did you do that? Why don't you make things immersive? Why does the Wii U gamepad have to be on? Why do you have to use it? Why the F is it 2 hours battery life? Why can't you make video chat streamlined? Why can't I use Miiverse and stuff more streamlined way during... I guess you can use it on Super Mario 3D World, but I mean, coming from... I played a lot of Xbox 360 online. And I could just hit my Xbox button, and just send a message real quick. Everything was so fast and so streamlined. And this was on an old console. You know, this came out in 2005, which is roughly 9 years ago. Well, it would be 9 years in the fall. You know, it came out in 2005. Why can't Nintendo do that? They are so behind the curve when it comes to this stuff. You Nintendo fanboys need to understand. You know, admit they need to freaking step up their game. And another thing I want to ask Nintendo, why did you name it the Wii U? The Wii, that was the most terrible name. I remember anticipating their last console before we knew what it was. It was like, Nintendo's new console is called the Revolution, or it's going to be called the Wii. I was like, oh, what is the Wii? I was like, Revolution sounds cool. No, that was its code name. It became the Wii. And this one was called Project Cafe, which was... I knew it was just going to be a project name, but I was like, man, I wonder what it's going to be like. They put that little... They made that U appear at that E3 conference after the Wii logo, and just that U appeared, and I was like, Wii U? Okay. Okay, I see. It's the Wii U. Okay. I mean... I hated it. I didn't like it, you know? I just sat there going, okay, well, at least show us cool stuff. Like, please. I like that you guys are trying to be hardcore. And I got excited when they showed all the hardcore games. But the problem was they were games that were already released on other consoles. You know? Anyway, I think what Nintendo needs to do, because here's the thing, they're not going to get third-party content. At least not very easily. Because it costs money for a third-party developer to make the same game in a downscaled version. Because The Wii U's power can't handle it. So they're not going to develop games for it. It costs them more money. Not to mention, you know, the install base might be smaller. Is it really worth porting something to the Wii U? Because, I mean, if the install base is going to be smaller, we're not going to make money on the Wii U version. Why make it? It's going to cost us more money. I mean, you got to think about those things too. What Nintendo needs to do is throw some money at third-party companies and say, hey, make this game. Or, hey, I'll fund this game. Look what Nintendo did with Bayonetta 2. That was a good move. Now do that more. Do that some more, Nintendo. Come on. Anyway, Nintendo needs to pump out some more great exclusive content as well. Everybody knows Nintendo IPs are some of the best IPs. I don't care if you're a Sony pony or an Xbot. You know Nintendo's franchises destroy your effing Halo. I'm sorry, Halo is tired and sad and boring. And very 1999 gaming. I'm sorry. I'm not a Halo fan. I tried to like it again. I did. I gave it my all. You know, I wanted to be part of the fad, and it didn't work. Because it's just so boring. I'm so tired of shooters. Aren't you guys? Anyway, you know, I consider myself a quote-unquote hardcore gamer. Hate that freaking term, hardcore. But anyway, you know, I consider myself a gamer all around. I'm truly hardcore in the sense that I don't only play rated M games. I play rated E games and rated M games and rated T games. I don't play rated A games, though. I'm not into that. Yeah. Anyway. And when I say they need to put out more exclusive content, they can still come out with the great stuff they always do, but they also need to make new IPs and get bold with these IPs. Get bold with some of their existing IPs, like Metroid. That would be a great one. Make those games hardcore. But yeah, I mean, Metroid would be a great one to start with. I mean, actually get a really good writer in there. Don't get these Team Ninja, man. I don't know if they did their story writing, but the acting was so anime, you know? And if you're going to go the anime route, get like Square Enix to do it, because they do it right, man. Their games are not great lately, but they still got like really cool style and design. I mean, they just need to get the talents in the right corners, you know, just, okay, we're going to make this game. You're going to be in charge of design. You're going to be in charge of story, because you guys, you're good at that and you're good at that. And we're going to do this. We're in charge of gameplay. That's one thing Nintendo's really good at, is gameplay. Smooth gameplay. Man, Nintendo's got... I mean, they just are a great company that does not use their potential. That's what aggravates me. And if you're a true Nintendo fan, you're going to be angry about that too. Stop defending them. I go to Wii U Daily to check out the latest Wii U news because I love Nintendo. I get excited when there's like a good piece of Wii U news once every 6 months. I mean, I really do check to see if there's anything interesting. But man, I tell you what. It's just, the fanboys are just so extreme on that site and just damage controlling everything. And just shut up and be honest with yourself. And on the same token, the Sony ponies need to shut their effing mouth too. And I say Sony ponies more than Xbots, because it seems like Sony ponies are the elitist ones that have to like act like they're better than everybody, and then they like to pee on Nintendo and say, we're grown-ups and you're kids, stupid kitty crap. And it's like they love to hate Nintendo. And then Xbox is like drowning in a sea of Halo titles going, yeah, well, we got Halo. It's pretty funny. Like, nobody really goes Xbox versus Nintendo. I mean, PlayStation versus Nintendo, yeah, and PlayStation versus Xbox. But man, I mean, all of you guys, Sony ponies, Xbots, Nintendo dorks, whatever, get a freaking life. Like, they're games. And be glad that they all do a good job at what they do. And like, I've been hard on Xbox. Like, Xbox has some talents too. They just need to stop being shady and act like they're doing better than they actually are. They need to admit to themselves that, hey, maybe we shouldn't be such money-grubbing whores and make people have to buy the Kinect for $500. I mean, that's why I got pissed off and didn't even buy the Xbox One, because of just how freaking money hungry they were. I think that's how the PS3 was. And I didn't even like Sony then anyway, so I definitely didn't get one back then. But I came around this time and really just took the fanboy out of myself. I said, you know what? I'm just going to see what PlayStation has to offer. And when you take the fanboy out, man, you are so much happier person. You feel so clean inside. Like, hey, I'm being honest with myself. Hey, you know what? They got some great titles coming out. And I love the PS4 controller. I hate it. See, that was the thing I was scared of, making the jump from Xbox to PlayStation. I was like, oh man, I love that Xbox controller. There's nothing better than that controller. I was like, I hate PlayStation's controller. I hate where the joysticks are located. And man, I grabbed that PS4 controller, and whoever designed that model did a fantastic job. Amazing, amazing, amazing controller. It feels great. I don't even know that I'm playing a PlayStation 4 controller because it fits right. I mean, they both make great controllers. So, I mean, yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to talk about what the Wii U needs to do. In short, they basically need to come out with more exclusive titles because they ain't getting no help from third-party developers right now. And I actually remember reading something or hearing something about Nintendo's actually hiring third-party developers to make their first-party IP games. You know, IPs, their games, basically. That's amazing. They need to freaking keep rolling with that. That's a good idea. Keep that up. Nintendo needs to lure the consumer with amazing titles that you can't get anywhere but Nintendo. And a lot of those titles are going to have to be hardcore. They're going to have to be those kind of titles that people are going to want to play. Bayonetta is hardcore. That's what it would be considered by the gaming community. Bayonetta 2. I mean, they did it right with that game. That one game, that's it. So, that's what Nintendo needs to do. They need to start coming out with, hey, we have an Animal Crossing Wii U Plaza coming out, and you can download it in May, and then no one cares. Like, that's not a real thing that it's happening in May. It's already came out. But I'm just making an example of how, excuse me, these Wii U Directs actually are. So, they need to do better. And you know another thing they need to do? They need to freaking put some virtual console titles on there and stop waiting like 4,000 months to put Mario 3 on there. It should have been on there day one. A lot of things should have been day one with Nintendo. They're behind the curve. And you know what, Nintendo fanboys, listen. If Nintendo fails because they are too stubborn to do what they need to do, then they deserve to lose. They deserve to lose sales. They deserve to lose the console war. They deserve to lose money. It's their fault. And like I said, I think Iwata needs to go. I think they need a younger guy in there that understands the gaming community and says, okay, this is the direction we need to go. Now, I'm rambling at this point, but you guys know what I've already said if you've listened thus far. If you have listened thus far, hey, I appreciate you sticking around. I do appreciate that. So that's pretty much all I have to say, I think. Hopefully I don't keep rambling on. If you guys like my stuff, please like and subscribe and leave a comment and let me know what you think. And I appreciate you guys chiming in. Talk to you later.